why he didn't come today?
I like it. He always sets the bar super low for me to follow.
That's right.
All right, so I am introducing Kelli and Brian of Wild Ride to speak to us today. They opened up Wild Ride in 2014, which I was super excited. My husband and I came from super small towns in Northern California that had 2 great breweries, and I felt like Wild Ride was a big plus for our community, not just because they have amazing beer, but they obviously do a ton in the community as far as fundraising. They're always supporting different charities and putting events on. They put on their car show, all kinds of fun stuff. Obviously partner with us for the Rocktoberfest, which is amazing. And they've done that for several years. I was trying to figure out how many years, but I couldn't figure out going back through, but I know it's been a long time, and we're very fortunate to have that support. And then they obviously opened the location in Prineville in 2022, which every time, it doesn't matter which one I drive by, they're always super packed and busy, which is a good sign of the owners and the way they run it. And then I was looking at, I was going to tell you guys how many, I was going to name off the awards they won, but then I was like, literally it would take the entire meeting with all these awards they won. And the most recent one that I know of, there might be one after this, but the most recent one I know of was the Building a Better Oregon. The Realtors Association does an award for that, and so they were honored for having the best new local tap room in Prineville, and just, you know, continuing to do great things in the community. I'll turn it over to you, Jill.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us, and thanks, Amber. I mean, you said everything I was going to say. So, my name's Brian Mitchell. I'm general manager of Wild Ride Brewing, and Kelli Gray's here also. What's your title? Doesn't matter. She does everything at Wild Ride. She's the glue behind everything we do. No, thank you for having us. We've been fortunate to be invited in the past here to talk with you guys, as we have with the relationship we have with Kiwanis and Prineville as well. But yeah, we're coming up on 10 years this May, which is crazy. At some point, I'm going to have to stop saying we're new business or we're new to the community, and I don't know, maybe the 10-year mark is that, but yeah, we're super fortunate to be here. We love Redmond. I grew up in Redmond. Special to me. It's still considered a small town community. We opened, as Amber said, a year and a half ago in Prineville, and that's, you know, even a smaller community, and both have been great to us. Both all the people in both Redmond and Prineville, or Central Oregon as a whole, allows us to be doing what we're doing and still be here, and our sights are set high, and we plan on continuing to do what we're doing for a long time, and we couldn't do it without all of the support that we've received. I probably said some of this when I spoke here last time, but a big part of our business plan was always about supporting the community that supports us, and we take pride in doing that. We enjoy it, and it's a big part of what we do. We love selling beer, we love people coming and hanging out in the tap rooms and having a good time, and we distribute our beer throughout 4 states, which is obviously our business and what we do. But being able to do things that, you know, give back to the community that supports us has always been a big part of what we do, and we do that in a number of different ways. So, yeah, 10 years ago when we were opening, in fact, our first true big fundraiser event was the Oktoberfest. We started planning it right as we opened, and it's our longest running fundraiser event, and that's with you guys, and super excited for the next one, which is September 21st, and We're going to get going early on it to do everything we can to work with you guys to make it bigger and better. So we're excited for that. But I want to talk a little bit about just some different things that we get involved with and do to help the community, because it's a number of different ways, and I think this kind of applies to, you know, your guys' organization and what's important to you. First, on a personal level, 2 weeks ago, one of our taproom managers in our Prineville location, her house burned down. And honestly, to see the communities, not just in Prineville, but here and elsewhere, rally around that was unbelievable. It was incredible. Very quickly, starting that morning at 6 a.m. when I was on the phone with her to midday the next day, or that day, we had a big fundraiser event planned. We had a lot of help, including people in this room that were working to bring auction items together, donations for silent auction raffles, and as a whole, they're doing well, and they're healthy, which was obviously number one. They were safe and healthy, but they've landed on their feet and they're going through the process, which is obviously tough for them. But from our point of view, to see the communities rally around in such a quick, amazing fashion was incredible. That's something that obviously was very close to home for us because she's part of our team and a valued team member and whatnot. But we have a lot of examples of that whether it's the Oktoberfest or now Rocktoberfest event that we have, but each month at each location we do a pint night with local beneficiary. A lot of those are sports teams or after school organizations and whatnot, to where we can get together, plan an evening together to where we're doing some promotion type stuff, and we donate a portion of beer sales back, and we're able to raise money for community organizations and whatnot. Those are smaller things that we enjoy doing and tie us to the communities a little bit, and they take time and they take work, but it's something that's of value. We have some big events, Rocktoberfest, obviously, that we've talked about, but the Key for Magic birthday bash that we're going into year 3. I know it's going to be talked about here in late March also, but that's special to us. Kiefer Loosechaff was a member of the Wild Ride team for a while, a few years back, and took his life sadly, and it's something that, partnering up with Rimrock Trails and the Loosechaff family, we've created this amazing fundraising event or events between Prineville and Redmond that raise a ton of money to give back and fight mental health and the challenges that exist there. Those parties are really next on our list, April 5th and 6th this year. That first weekend is going to be a lot of fun, and we'll talk more about that. But we do an annual car show, or two annual car shows, one in April and one in August. We're now doing one also at the Prineville Airport in June. These are fun fundraiser events. They're free, family-friendly events that people get to come out and enjoy. A million years ago when I grew up here, it's like if kind of felt like you had to go somewhere else to enjoy some things like that. So we've kind of taken pride into, hey, can we be a spot where families can come out and have a good time and make it as such. We do what we call our MX-13 Jump Show or Metal Militia events in July in Prineville, in August here in Redmond, that we work with Justin Hellman and the Rotary Group to raise a bunch of money, and we spread the beneficiaries around and work closely with, like I said, organizations like you guys to be able to give back, and that's important to us, because there's no question we wouldn't be talking about celebrating 10-year anniversary coming up if it wasn't for everyone in the community supporting what we do. So anyway, it's something that we don't spend a ton of time promoting on our end or patting ourselves on the back, and that's not really the point of it all, but it's in support of what you guys do, and where we can do it on our end is something that matters to us and is special and will continue that way. So, I probably missed some things, maybe, I don't know. Anybody have any questions?
Besides the best beer you've ever made at Canyon Room Crawl,
Yeah.
how many other beers have you had out there now?
Yeah, I can't answer that. Yeah, so Redmond's our production facility. It's a 20-barrel brew house, and the beers that we make there mostly are core beers and beers that we package and send out through distribution. When Prineville opened, that's a 5-barrel brew house we consider like a pilot experimental type system that allows us to brew a lot of different new styles and beers. So yeah, we've definitely lost count. I mean, to be fair, I think I lost count before Prineville. Yeah, we're in the hundreds as far as different beers. And it changes. I mean, 10 years in the craft beer industry and been through a lot. I mean, just, economy changing, pandemics, just on down the list. But the craft beer industry has changed during that time as well, and always does. So what's new, what's next? Variety has always been a key to our operation and what we do. You definitely will see regular customers, Mug Club members that come in and drink the same beer every day, or every time they come in. I have my favorites, but I like to change things up, and variety is fun. So, yeah, Canyon Room Crawl, that was really good. Still is. We're the tail end of that beer, but yeah, we're gonna keep making them all. So Amber mentioned the awards. Yeah, that's not Kelly or I. Largely, that's our brew team mostly, and the team as a whole that allows it all to come together, because we couldn't do what we do without an awesome team, and we have it on the brewery side, on the production side, certainly on the tap room and sales side. So yeah, we're always pretty honored anytime we get some recognition, because it's a team thing that goes to that. But on the beer side, yeah, we have some talented brewers, and they love what they do and they're passionate about it. And hopefully, you guys are getting to try some and enjoy some of those beers.
Other than beer, cider's becoming a big thing.
Yeah.
Served in brew pubs.
Yeah.
So what's the impact and expectation of ciders and other things you serve?
Yeah, it's a good question. Cider, at this point, I'd say it's more about the others than ciders. Ciders was kind of that first. I mean, really, when we opened 10 years ago, ciders was really becoming a popular thing. We don't make cider. We would need some different licensing and all that, and you have some breweries out there that make their own cider. I don't know if it's something we'll ever do or not, but we do have a couple ciders on tap at both of our locations, because we know that there are people that come in that don't necessarily like beer. So we offer cider, we offer seltzer, we offer wine, plenty of non-alcoholic beverages, non-alcoholic beer even. So yeah, that's as to that impact, I don't know that from a Wild Ride perspective we've felt much of a cider impact, because it's always been a part of that industry. It's always been there. Recently, year to a year and a half ago, we started producing seltzers though. Seltzers kind of a little bit more of the recent trend, if you will, in the beverage industry, and that's definitely had an impact. But we produce it, and we have a team that has an open mind to be willing to step outside the box a little bit, whereas you can get stuck a little bit in the traditional, we make beer and it's water, malt, hops, yeast, nothing else, and that can be limiting in today's industry and whatnot. So you get craft cocktails that are part of the world now. you have different generations coming up and wanting to try different things, and for us, we're gonna try to keep our fingers on the pulse as much as we can, and to be flexible and open-minded to adapting however need be, including potentially making cider someday. We'll see. But it's a good question. Yeah?
What kind of plans do you have, if any, for expansion? Talk about 4 states, I guess, you're distributing them?
Yeah, we've been distributing in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Alaska. And yeah, that's a good question. I get asked that often, and I'm not sure always how to answer. We're always looking for opportunities. They have to make sense. We started looking at a second location, and Prineville was brought up, and it was really, does this make sense for us, and the timing, and we were heading right into pandemic. The long and short of that is it did make sense for us if we could find the right location and whatnot. Project took longer to do the remodel project, of course, and it cost a lot more, of course. But it's worked out really well, and we're excited to be in Prineville for the long term. We've been talking about a third location. Talking is probably the way to put it. We've looked at a few things. I don't think an expansion within Central Oregon would probably be realistic. Bend isn't on our radar. The Valley isn't really on our radar in Oregon. So, what we do, if you've been to the tap room in the brewery or Prineville, it's a free-flowing, casual hangout environment. And obviously the outdoor aspect of what we do is important to us. And even in this time of year, you get people hanging out by the fire pits and enjoying that. But 7-8 months of the year, you get a lot of people outside. 9 months of rain in the valley doesn't make a lot of sense. Saturation and Bend. I mean, it's for us, it's just gotta be right. It's gotta be Wild Ride-esque. And then there's a million other factors that have to make sense to do it. But like I said earlier, we love what we do. We put a lot into it, and we're here for the long haul. And we're going to keep working to make that happen. And if that makes sense to continue to expand, we will. Yeah. Yep.
I was surprised, I think it was this week on the news, they were talking about how many breweries are closing
Yeah.
their doors. And I was surprised because I'm thinking, you guys are always busy. Even when it's freezing, people are huddled out in the fires, drinking beer. And so I was really surprised by that. Have you guys seen that kind of crunch?
There's a lot of attention this time of year. Anytime you go into like the calendar change and whatnot, there's a lot of attention, and you see that. In the early years, it's a lot of how many breweries are open or how many breweries open, and now it's a little bit opposite. And the way we pay attention to it, we pay attention to it. It's not just breweries, it's restaurants, it's bars, because that's part of our business. It's part of what we do. Like I said earlier, we have a team that works really hard, and we're really fortunate to have had success, and we don't take any of it for granted. It can change at any moment's notice, and our team believes in that and buys into that. Here in Redmond, there's a lot of great places to go and hang out and drink beer, or hang out and drink Wild Ride beer even, different than when we opened 10 years ago. And to continue to be a place that people want to come, you have to have your standards high, and a team that buys into that, and we're fortunate to have that. So yeah, we feel really good about where we're at and the year to come. We're excited about some growth that we expect to see this year, and we're not surprised at all by some breweries closing or the challenges, because we face the same challenges. It's hard. Costs are through the roof. Staffing isn't easy. There's a lot of challenges to it, and one of the things that we said when we were putting our business plan together a dozen years ago or whatnot was to be successful long term, you ultimately have to not only run a great brewery, but you have to run a great business. And we pride ourselves to having a team that does both of those things. And we'll work hard to continue that. In our industry, you see a lot of, and you were able to have, there was a stretch in time in the craft beer world where you could just make great beer and probably just get away with it without necessarily running a great business or whatnot. And we go to things like Craft Brewers Conference. We went to Nashville last spring and see a lot of people that talk about the struggles in the industry and the struggles on the business side and whatnot. And it's just ultimately, it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And I think that there's an element of everybody started doing it and it's correcting itself. I think it's going to continue to be hard for a while, and I think that we're going to continue to see some of that. We haven't faced a lot of that in Central Oregon. A lot of the attention is being given on the Valley and whatnot. You know, we read some articles about like Prineville and Ochiko Brewing closing down in last year, which wasn't last year, it was a few years back, and Cascade Lakes just closed their west side location, but they also just opened up an east side Bend location. So there hasn't been a great deal of impact from that standpoint in Central Oregon, but Central Oregon's also been very, very supportive of the craft beer and beverage industry. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. Who wants to go first?
On the same subject, a couple of years back, there was a trend of the big breweries buying out the craft.
Yeah.
Is that still going on? Or?
No, I think the opposite's happening. I think the big breweries are getting out of that. Anheuser-Busch has sold 10 Barrel and the bulk of their craft beer portfolio. I don't know. You're seeing, there was a time where it's like, that is the trend and whatnot, and now it's pretty quiet for the most part. But there's a brewery in Portland called Ecliptic that just sold. Ecliptic has a great reputation for beer and kind of being that popular, gotta have it brand. And sort of surprising to a lot of us is they were struggling behind the scenes, and they sold to get out. And everybody's got to have an exit plan at some point and get that figured out. But I don't think we're going to see a ton of that the same way that I know you are aware of and whatnot. But that was a big deal here. We first heard about it with 10 Barrel selling, and but now they've been sold again. So yeah.
So we moved out to Prineville just before you guys opened. We were so excited that you're out there. And it's not just the brewery itself or the tap room, but the food trucks you have out there.
Yeah.
So we got some great quality food trucks out there. So for us to be running late, whatever, or something, and we're on a tight timeline, we're out there all the time, even just getting food over here as well, too.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that very much. And the Hippie Haze is my favorite, and I haven't found a haze that's quite like that. I have other clients in the area that are breweries and have a haze,
Sure.
but I haven't found one quite like your guys'.
Well, cool.
Haze as well.
No, thank you for the kind words. Hippie Haze is in 12-ounce cans in one of our core beers, so it's always on tap, and it's a personal favorite of mine as well.
Are you guys connected? Someone said Sons of Beer. Did you guys were connected with that too? Or?
We're not.
Okay.
No.
Someone said that you guys own that, but I didn't think that was the case. Or not,
No. Yeah, we hear a lot of things. But it's Wild Ride Redmond and Wild Ride Prineville.
it's just the two main locations.
Yeah. There's, you mentioned the food trucks, and thanks for the kind words. We're not in the restaurant industry, and we're not, at least Kelli and I, we're not food people from that perspective. Have a great deal of respect for people that can run a successful restaurant, no doubt. I have a partner that did so for a long time and that now owns a couple of food trucks. But food trucks has worked really well for us in our model. And we have high standards for those guys as well, and it can provide some challenges because at each location it's essentially 5 businesses coming together to work towards the same goal, and we have some element of control with that as to who's there and all that, but like I said, our standards are high, and you get teams of other different businesses that can impact what we do and all that, so it's challenging, but we have 8 food trucks that are all committed to the same things, and we think work hard to make really good food. They're fighting the same challenges as restaurants and everybody else as far as costs, and prices are high, and we all wish that was different. But they all do a good job, and I mean, I eat from the food trucks plenty, as you can probably tell, but it's worked really well. The model has worked very well for us. So.
2 quick questions. First of all, over the last 10 years, what's been your best beer seller? And the other one is, there are so many good beers out there.
Yeah.
How do you get your beer in Eugene and Ashland and other places? How do you get that distributed out there?
Yeah, our number one beer has been our Nut Crusher Peanut Butter Porter. It's a unique style. It's really, really good if you're a fan of dark beers and peanut butter. Nut Crusher was great for us, and we brewed it, I want to say, about year 1, about year and a half in, and it was designed to be just a one-off beer, and then it won a People's Choice and Sponsor's Choice Award at a festival in Eugene, and then Costco picked it up and opened a lot of doors for us. We have others. Our Whoop De Whoop Weed has won some really big awards and medals out there. Is really one of our top sellers. And as to getting our beers out there, we work with distribution networks, and we also have a sales team. We have a sales distribution manager that's on our team. We have a sales representative that's based in Portland. The 2 of them tackle the market. Before the pandemic, we had at our highest, we had 4 different sales reps out there tackling 4 states and whatnot. But it's relationship stuff. It's relationship with the distributors, with the accounts, the buyers, chain stores. You're making presentations and pitches months in advance to the Safeways and Kroger's and plant pantries and you name it. So it's a lot of work, and a lot of that stuff is just our business and behind the scenes. And like I said, we have a good team to do it. We're striving to really push that in 2024 and get that presence back out there as we've been fortunate to have. But it's part of the growth that we're looking forward to seeing this year. So
you make all those beers here and distribute them from here?
Yeah, typically. Our Prineville beers are mostly served in our tap rooms. We have more taps in Prineville, so not everything makes it over to Redmond and vice versa. It just kind of depends on the what and the when. But every so often for events or special accounts, we'll have some of our one-off Prineville beers get out into the market. And that'll probably increase more as we move ahead, but most of what you see out there in stores or at restaurant or brew pubs or whatnot comes from being produced in Redmond.
Including the canning part?
Yeah, all the canning happens in Redmond. So, yeah, we bought a bottling line way back when, and then we started canning, and we were mobile canning, and then we bought a canning line, and now we only can. So, bottling lines in one of our containers, and it's not you still see bottles in the market. It's just it's not as good for the beer. It's not as economical. There's just a lot of reasons why the shift the last few years to cans, but we're fully on the can train. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you
Yep.
very much, guys. These are handcrafted by Brian Watts. Do you know them?
Yeah.
So he handcrafted those, and we're going to take a quick. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you again for
Thank you.
having us and hearing me talk.
We're just so appreciative that Brian and Kelly and their whole team down there is just wonderful. In honor of them and the service that they do in our community, At the end, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about who you've lifted, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. Denzel Washington. And with that, we are adjourned. Oh, yeah.